We took over a pop-up retail space in New York City, and we basically hunkered down over New Year's Eve, as you can tell, and we decided to kind of create this movement around the natural time of year when people are talking about making life changes, talking about making changes to their health. And Nike's positioning was really in 2012, how do we reach regular, everyday athletes? They had never used their @Nike Twitter handle. We literally met for probably 3 months just to figure out what the first tweet was going to be. And the tweet was, "If you have a body, you're an athlete," which is an old Bowerman quote. And so we used this moment in time to build queues and databases. So for those of you that have not used the Sprinkler background of the platform, you essentially can build queues. So I was able to look at all of the hashtags, #MakeAccount, and start to decipher who the consumers were. So I was able to grab 5,000 Manchester United fans and give them to Nike football, and grab 3,000 women who are interested in women's sports and give them to Nike women's sports. And so what each group was able to walk away with was a new universe of consumers to play with. And so really the exercise for Nike was about using Sprinkler, tapping into consumers. But the future state is, you walk into a Nike store and they've mapped your Nike ID with your social traffic. And so you pick up a pair of trainers and they're like, wait a minute, you've been tweeting about running a marathon. Those aren't the right shoes for you. And so obviously this is future state. But I wanted to give you that example of Nike. Actually, none of our clients are like Nike. Nike's on this end of the spectrum. Most of my clients are like Family Express in Northwest Indiana. It's a chain of 50 stores. They do gas, their convenience store business. And they come to us for similar challenges, right? How do you map the consumer experience using social? How do you make social part of the entire journey? And so we've done things for clients like that. But I think Nike is interesting because it's complex, as you can well imagine. That group was made up of all brand managers who took time off of their vacation over the holidays to come to New York City. We could have done that thing in Portland, Atlanta, New York, but we chose to actually come to New York City to be in one space. We used the space as a content hub. So athletes were coming in and out of the space, and we were going immediately up with content all day. So it had a multifunctional purpose. It wasn't just the analytics and the data. It was also a space where you could bring media, you could bring bloggers, you could bring people. So there's actually the physical nature of the command center, and then there's the functional nature of the command center. So we did that again at South by Southwest, where we launched the Fuel Band. And we actually took the same concept of a command center and put it in a trailer. And we did that outside of South by Southwest in Austin. And you could do that in Rio. You could do it wherever for the World Cup. But the idea that you're actually listening to real-time conversations and you're reacting right then is really the business that we were in for Nike. So I'm fascinated around a few things. I'm fascinated around influence and what drives influence. And I think that is going to grow. I think that how we define influence, whether some of you believe in clout or cred, I don't believe in any of them, but I think that the fact that they actually have taken a new approach is really important. And I think they'll work out the kinks, whatever you feel about those platforms. I think clout and cred will figure that out. But I think there's a new approach to looking at influence. It's not just number of followers, but it's actually things like, who's in your world, how many times are people, engaging with your content. I think that for some of you who are marketers there's a new world of influence coming, whether it's Pinterest. I was talking to a woman yesterday. We do some investing as well, and this woman was coming to me about a new company she's starting where she's managing Pinterest rock stars. She's literally managing the famous Pinteresters in Silicon Valley, and she's doing deals directly with brands. So I'm fascinated with things like that, influence, and how influence will grow, and how what I call the new famous will evolve. I'm also fascinated about communities and how communities exist both online and offline, and how you take communities online and bring them offline. So I'm a part of this thing called Summit Series, where these people meet in these offline forums. We meet in the Bahamas, we met in Squaw Valley, but then online, everybody is active, everybody is engaged. They've taken a traditional concept model or a conference model, and then in the social world of Summit Series, I'm in these really deep private Facebook rooms with those people. I think for those of you out there that are building communities, I think that's something to look at, is how the offline and the online play together. And then obviously I'm also fascinated by real-time communications, the what happens right now. Whitney Houston has passed away. What are we going to do? How are we going to handle the conversation? What are we driving? And that's what we do for the Grammys every year, and we drive that conversation, which ultimately affects tune-in. So how are we affecting tune-in? How are we affecting what's on TV? I'm giving you a very fast version of what I think the future looks like in 6 minutes, but I'd love to answer any questions if you have them.